Good evening, I'm Pixie from Planet Pixie and I plan weddings and events with a difference. I'm joined by Paula from Cakes by P.
Hiya, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing well, thank you. Lovely to have you here. Oh, lovely to be invited, and I'm looking forward to having a quick chat with you, tell you all about what I do.
I look forward to hearing it. You know, I love some cake.
I know, cake's brilliant, isn't it?
So tell us, how long have you been baking?
I have been baking for probably about 10, 11 years now. Obviously baked when the kids were little. I used to work in the corporate world and I used to take cakes into work. And it was one of those, the very first cakes that I took into work was little old school fairy cakes. You know, the ones with the little wings on? The wings always tasted better. And I took those in. And it was one of those, my business then progressed from there. It was all members of my team was like that. P, can you make me some of those cakes? P, I've got a baby shower coming up. Can you do some of these for me? So it progressed from there. So, and then I actually got I've had my shop now for just over 7 years. Like I say, at the time, my job, I was made redundant. And my husband, he's always known that this was something that I've wanted to do. I love making cakes. And the shop that I'm in now has always been a cake shop. And the lady that owned it previous to me, she was actually retiring. Her mum was retiring and it was too much for one person. So she had phoned my husband and said, there's a few bits and pieces in the shop. Is there something that Paula might be interested in? So my husband tootled off and went up to the shop. And he walked out with owning or literally taking the keys to the shop. So I literally got home from where I was at, and he's like that, going, "There you are." And I'm like that. Pardon? What? How has this happened? So I literally went from a home baker right the way into owning my own shop, and it was just like that, going.
That's amazing. That scary step taken away from you, doing it for you.
Yeah, I think if I hadn't been made redundant, I wouldn't have taken that chance at all. But my kids are grown up. You know, I think at the time they were like 14 and 10, so they weren't babies anymore. So it was that time where my husband said, "Go and do something that you want to do," and I did. And 7 years down the line, I'm still here, and I absolutely love it.
I was going to say, I'm still smiling.
Yes. Well, why would you not smile about cakes?
That is very true. That is very true. So other than baking, what's your favourite part about what you do?
Talking to customers. I absolutely love finding out about why they want the cake. Obviously, if it's a wedding, you can tell, but it's more the personal side of things. It's like that going, how did they meet? You know, what were the cake that I'm going to create for them? Showcase for them. I love it when somebody comes in, I want a story told. It doesn't have to be the traditional wedding cake. I'm a firm believer of it's your day. You know, this is when I'm talking to my couples, it's your day. You can have whatever you want. If you want a black wedding cake, let's see whether I can show you the right way. Like a black wedding cake.
I love it.
Yeah, so you've got a black wedding cake. If you want that, you can have it. Now, the thing is with this black wedding cake, I'll show you from there. It is, if you will look at it, when you look it up close, it is a very, very traditional style. So it's a 4-tier cake. It has lovely sharp edges. It has roses on it. It has royal icing details, all the royal piping and things like that. So it's a very, very traditional style of cake. But I've done it in black. And it completely changes the look of the cake. Now, in the shop, I've actually got a white wedding cake, exactly the same as the black one. And I have it to show people because sometimes people don't understand. When I say black wedding cake, like, oh, no, I can't do that. And it's like that. Yes, you can. This is that. And it's one of those, a black wedding cake can still be elegant. It can still have like flowers on it. It can still like royal icing and all of those details, but it's more unique. And that is what I love doing, and taking people's like dreams and ideas and turning that into a reality. because ultimately at the end of the day, I literally facilitate what my couples want. So it could be an intricate piping details, or something a little bit more rustic, like the urban style thing. So we've got like a concrete effect. So it's not those super sharp edges, but it's like that. It's finding out what my couples want and creating it. That ultimately is the best job ever.
You can tell how excited you get.
Sorry.
No, sorry. It's fab that you're getting too excited.
Yeah. See, the thing is in my job, because obviously with being from the corporate world, every day was the same. I can now come into the shop and I never have the 2 days the same. I can be, I could be making roses, or I could be doing anything else, but they are not the same. And yet you've got different people coming in. So people want different things. And I think that's what people like about coming in to talk to me. They'll start off with one idea. I will hold my hands up. I don't know how my brain works. Somebody will give me an idea. That sounds really bad, doesn't it? Somebody will give me an idea and it'd be like that, go, have you thought about that? My brain, when it comes to a cake, it's like that, go, oh, I could try that way.
Creativity. It's just your creativity, isn't it?
Why not?
Yeah, definitely. Why not? Definitely. So when somebody comes to see you, what is your consultation process?
Right. So the consultation process is, I am a firm believer of people have got to like me as a person. I know that seems really weird, but if they don't like me, how are they then going to trust me to make their cake? So when we do the consultation, it is a very, very informal process. So come into the shop. Now, at the moment, we're not quite doing face-to-face consultations. And, we can do them over Zoom, but I find that you need to speak to people face-to-face. You get more of a connection and more of a reaction to things. Yeah, you do. You can get to know what people want. But in the normal world, if they were to come in to have a consultation, there would be cake, there would be cups of tea. Depending if it's later in the afternoon, there could even be a bottle, like a glass of bubbles. It is entirely up to the couples that come in.
I think I need a consultation.
Come and have cake. Why not? So it's one of those is that they'll come in and they'll talk about what they want. I ultimately want to find out what they want as for their cake. Again, I am a firm believer of it is my bride's and groom's day. It is your day. You have whatever you want. I dare say I have met people and they're like that going, I don't really like cake. And at that particular point, I do get like, no. I do. It's like they go, no, you can't do that. But it's, if you don't like cake, and this is where my husband does tell me off, it's like, if you don't like cake, don't have it. And I know that's really, probably from a business point of view, a really wrong thing to say, but if it's not what you want, don't do it.
That's exactly my process in planning anything.
Yeah, it's got to be, because you've got to want to actually have in this instance, a cake, and you want to enjoy it. If you're not a cake person, no matter what I do, you're not going to be impressed with it. So that's right. And
what is it Danny says, you can be the juiciest peach, but not everybody's going to like peaches.
Yeah, who wants to be a peach anyway? Definitely not.
No, I'm vanilla sponge, mate.
See, no, I'm a lemon cake, but that's just me because it's a little bit zesty.
I've started. If you ask me, I would say I don't like lemon and I don't like lemon drizzle. But in the last 6 months, I've eaten more lemon drizzle.
See, when people come in and like they say, well, what? Again, normally you can have a combination of different flavors. You don't have to stick to like the traditional fruit cake. They've gone. You don't have to do that. But people are coming.
Fruit does not belong in cake. I'm sorry.
No. Christmas cake, yeah, but it doesn't have to be.
Fruit and vegetables do not belong in my cake.
So if I say carrot cake, you'd be like, they go, no, don't do it.
No, it's against the rule.
Like say when I'm talking to obviously to my couples, and again, you can have whatever design or whatever flavors that you want. But for some strange reason, when I talk about lemon, I'm like, I go, it is my absolute favorite. So it's a lemon sponge cake. It has a layer of lemon curd. It then has a layer of zesty lemon buttercream. I'm like, I'm sold. But
making me hungry.
So, but again, that's all part of the process as well. So you don't have to conform to the norm. You can have whatever you want. Salted caramel, I'm finding at the moment, a red velvet cake with a salted caramel buttercream, and then obviously iced. Then when you cut into it, the colours just look so vibrant. And again, that's something that your guests aren't expecting. So that can create that little wow factor again. So it looks brilliant, especially if it's on a white plate and it's when it's been served later on in the evening. It looks fabulous. So there's so many different things. Yeah, so many different things that you can have. But that's why I love doing the design the consultation process. It's finding out. Because like I say, ultimately, you can have whatever you want.
Yeah, and opening people's minds as well. I mean, you know, I love cake and I love making a cake, but I would not have thought red velvet and salted caramel. But you said, oh,
you're now going to go try it, aren't you?
I'm like, oh, I need.
But it does. It really complements it, you know. And again, even things like raspberry and white chocolate, that's been really well. I was going to say that had been really popular this year. Well, it had been if everything had gone ahead. Next year, I'm going to be making lots of them, but that's next year.
Does sound again? I'd say fruit doesn't belong, but that does actually sound. You might be changing my mind. I ain't going to change my mind on vegetables, but you might be able to change my mind a little bit.
But I shall work on that one.
Your challenge.
Yes. Oh, wait, you know me. I accept a challenge.
Got a little challenge. So, what is your favourite part about the actual baking side?
I think it is seeing everything together. So you'll literally start off with a blank canvas. So obviously, once the cake has been baked and it's been then crumbed and then it's had like a ganache over it and it's iced, it's like that going, right, this drawing that I've done, now hands up, I can't draw. I really can't. But part of my process is...
Men don't like big men, don't worry.
So part of the process is I will do a sketch of what the cake is going to look like. Now, it is a very basic sketch. And again, I always tell my couples that I can't physically draw. And some of them are a bit like that going, yeah, but you can make cakes like this. And I'm like, it's completely different. I've got the idea in my head, but from that idea in my head to put it onto paper, it just doesn't work. But I know if I've said that I'm putting a lace detail here, when I'm then going to incorporate that in a design, it works. And I've got that already from there. So I think from literally...
That's where that trust comes in, isn't it?
Yeah. The great part for my job is literally seeing like the plain iced cake. And then once it's finished and it's it's all set up at a venue, you like that step back, take a step back and like, I made that. And it's like, but
I did that.
Just sign me up. But again, that is such a wonderful feeling with being able to, like say, a blank canvas to then think, oh. And the thing is with the wedding cake, the reason why you have like lots of photos of taken with it, and it's such an important part of the day, is because it's the first task that you do as man and wife, which is the reason why all photographers want you to have that picture. You know, when you're posing there, with your husband's arms around you and you're doing it from there, that's what weddings, and it's the first important job that you do as a couple. So that's why that's why your cake should be a showstopper, and it's got to be spot on.
Definitely. What's your favourite element to incorporate into a cake?
Oh, see, now I love anything that's got texture. Again, I don't know whether we can see from, let's do it this way. So this way here, this is a new technique that I'm working on. Now these are created like little waves of sails. So it creates like that movement. It's not finished yet. So this one needs to be done. But again, my mind it's always a bit of a work in progress. And I'll work on something. It's like, no, that needs something else. But when it's a display cake, that's when the creativity can come out. And you can play with things. I've had a couple of people have come in the shop already this week and they're like, oh, I like the look of that. And I'm like, it's not finished yet. Wait until it's finished.
I don't know that.
They don't know that, but I do, because they know what I'm like. So yeah, that's one of the great things.
That's awesome. So what is your favourite technique? So that's your favourite like elements, but what's your favourite thing to physically do? The favourite technique to do?
I love anything, like say, that's got texture. So you know, you can incorporate like ruffles. Now again, they're quite a lengthy process, and then don't have to be feminine. They can create that industrial kind of look. I love doing anything like that. It's just something different. There are a lot of cake designs out at the moment which are very, very floral and very, very clean and chic and elegant. Now, they are beautiful and absolutely stunning, but give me something that's got some texture, that's got some overlay on there, and it's got some like different colors into it, like gold overlay against a black cake looks absolutely fabulous. So it's that just working with different things. And 9 times out of 10, I get my inspirations from what my customers want. So it could be a case of, I've not seen anything like this before, but let's try it. 9 times out of 10, we always do try it before the wedding cake. You know, it's not literally just left to the last minute, but it, no, I'm not that bad. It's one of those, you just try those different elements, because one thing that I'm finding in my industry is the techniques and the new skills, they are changing on a constant basis. Like 6 months ago, I would never have known how to do these sails. And again, they're such a simple task, but they look so dramatic. I mean, and you can create so many different effects with them. So, and again, these ones here are done in black. I've seen them where they've been done in very, very elegant, like pinks and floral colors. Again, having those cascaded up the cake in an ombre effect looks fantastic. It really does. And again, it could be, I love the fact that if you start with a darker color at the bottom, the ombre effect looks brilliant. Start with a really, really, really dark color, you know, like a black to a really slate gray, and going right the way up to an ivory or a white, just looks fabulous.
I think you might, I was going to spring one last question on you then, and I think you might have just answered it. I'm going to ask you, if you were to have your very own showstopper cake, what would you go for?
Well, definitely the ombre effect. My shop is grey. I love the color grey. So if I've got a free rein, or if I'm designing some kind of new cake, 9 times out of 10, it does incorporate blacks, greys, some silver in there. It does like the marble effect in there, but that's because that's what I like when I'm looking through. I look through for inspiration from all different cake designers, but they're the colours that I'm drawn to. So I think with any job that you work in, you've got to be comfortable with what you like to do, and then that shows that that's what people want. You know, anything is possible, but the ombre effect is really good. Definitely texture. We definitely have to have some form of texture in it. You know, it could be like overlays, so you could literally have a layer and then it's been textured, but then you can have like shapes overlaying it. Again, they don't even have to be symmetrical. I love that, more of a overlay, you know, more of a rustic look, but in a structured in a structured way.
Structured way, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like organised chaos.
Oh, sounds like my mind.
Oh, that's definitely mine.
Before I let you go, what areas do you cover? Where are you willing to provide your beautiful cakes, and where can people follow you?
So my shop is in Manchester, and if anybody knows Manchester, I am literally 10 minutes away from the Trafford Centre. Now, I have delivered cakes for up to like a 2.5 hour journey. Now, the reason when we do that, you do have to take into consideration different factors. You know, it's things like, what's the weather going to be like? 9 times out of 10, I do not deliver my cakes stacked. When I deliver my wedding, I do them in separate boxes, get to the venue and set them up. Now, again, that's all included within the package that we do. That is part of the service. There is nothing, I wouldn't want my bride to come and pick their wedding cake up in the morning. That's just something that they don't do. So like I say, the furthest I've driven is sort of like a 2.5 hour drive. But you know what? Anything is possible. It really is. You you know, it's just all about those different elements to take into consideration. The sun, like say, warm weather is definitely a factor you've got to take into consideration. You know, you don't want to be 2.5 hours in a car if you've got like a really hot day, and it's something like a naked or a semi-naked like buttercream cake. They don't last. They really don't.
Slippy and slidey to me.
Yes, they very are. That again, I'll be honest with you. I don't actually do. This is going to sound really bad. I don't actually do naked or semi-naked cakes in the month of August, because it's just, you know, when I say August, in those summer months when you know it's going to be, you know, it's just not worth. But it's my reputation that's on the line, because obviously, no matter what I do, as soon as it gets to the venue, it's then set in the venue. It's there. There's no air conditioning. There's no control over it.
Nope.
But ultimately, it's my responsibility. So I took that decision of not to offer those cakes in those months. And you know what? My couples accept that, because again, I've told them why. Because
well, you know what you're talking about, and even for me who bakes at home, I know. I know the tragic consequences.
My husband,
buttercream.
See, my husband's a DJ as well, so he said the amount of cakes that he has seen that have been like, and I never want to put one of my names to it, because it's like that going, it can just ruin your reputation. And it's like that. I've worked too hard to get to where I am now, to have the warm weather, which we get to ruin it.
Yeah,
so,
it'd be heartbreaking to watch a cake slide.
Yeah, it's not good at all. Not that I've ever witnessed it, but you know, from experience and from being in different cake groups, it's heartbreaking. It really is. So people can
follow you.
Follow me. So I am on Instagram and Facebook under Cakes by P, or I have a website, which is obviously www.cakesbyp.com. They've got pictures, obviously, of my weddings. There's a little bit about me, and obviously other things that I do as well. So if you need like anything, just give us a quick little follow.
Fabulous. I will be sure to make sure I let you know next time I'm coming to Dino Falls.
Oh, definitely. It's literally 10 minutes away.
I know.
Cake.
I'll make sure I don't eat too much at the Hard Rock Cafe before I go to Dino Falls, so that there's some space.
Come see me. That sounds like a plan. We can work on this.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. Well, thank you for your time.
No, thank you very much, my dear.
And I'm going to go and get something to eat now, because you've made me hungry.
Talk about cake. Usually has that effect.
I'll try not to be eating cake. I've eaten too much this week.
There's never such thing as too much cake. Honestly.
Oh, I'm going to go get some cake then.
That sounds like a plan. I'd love you to
Have a good evening.
And
Thank you. Bye.